The GPU market is absolutely flooded in May of 2023. That's our update. Flooded more than ever. And unfortunately, prices don't really seem to be going down. I remember May of 2021. It's been a whole 2 years. That month saw some of the highest GPU prices we have ever seen. I remember an RTX 3080 10 gigabyte was selling for as high as $2,100 on the scalper market. Now, things have turned around and we no longer have scalpers unless you count Nvidia, maybe AMD as scalper themselves, which is certainly the running meme. And we have a GPU that is sitting on the shelves, 4070. This is 12 gigabytes of VRAM. It's sort of almost equal to the RTX 3080 in a lot of cases. At $599, it certainly is a lot cheaper than the $2,100 scalper price that the 3080 saw in May of 2021. But what explains scenes like this? This is a stock room of a micro center, and some user posted on Reddit that these GPUs are gathering dust. And as I check stock and availability of the 4070, everywhere it's in stock. This isn't even a picture that you have to question, because I'm sure that's what it looks like at warehouses and retailers across the world, basically. So they even tried to give us $100 Steam gift card to try to move some of these RTX 40 series GPUs. I'm sure when they did that, a couple more than would have normally sold, probably sold, because then you're getting a $599 4070. But if you're going to buy some games like the fantastic Redfall, maybe Jedi Survivor, or The Last of Us, 3 games that have recently come out and are actually full of problems, which is something else that's kind of killing PC gaming. If you're going to spend your money on those with the gift card, then at least technically you kind of got a little bit cheaper price on that 4070 and you got some potentially crap optimized games, even though Jedi Survivor I think is a good game. Some of the other ones like Redfall, it's kind of a miss everywhere. So that's the big issue here. The prices aren't going down anymore, however. It's back, $599 without a gift card, and sometimes you may get a free game bundled in depending on what Nvidia plans to do. The 4070 isn't really even the biggest problem here. If we dig a little bit deeper and look at what other GPUs are actually in stock in retailers, you're going to find a shocking amount of RTX 3000. And not only that, the prices are excessively high. Like even checking Micro Center, which you guys won't care if you have one or not because GPUs are expensive there too now. 3070s are like $500 plus. I even saw a few for like $569. That's within $50 to $100 of an RTX 4070. At that point, obviously you go for a 4070, but they're still selling these. In my opinion, a 3070 is already a few years old, and even though it's still a decent GPU for 1080p, some 1440p gaming, we have to keep in mind 8 gigabytes of VRAM is going to be a limiting factor going forward. Still, it shouldn't be anywhere near a $500 GPU. It should be at most maybe like $300 or less or something like that, which you can find them for on the used market if you search around, but retail prices are out of control. So they have stock of new GPUs like the 4070, not even to mention the 4070 Ti and 4080 and even 4090, which are abundantly in stock basically at retailers everywhere. The other problem is they're not lowering any of those prices. We did see a couple of sales and discounts here or there, like the 4080 occasionally will drop below MSRP. Even some of the 4090s that are less in demand, they're going to drop as well. But right now, nobody really buying these GPUs at all. It has to do obviously with the certain economic issues that are going on right now. PC gaming in general is a little bit miffy. There are games coming out, but like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these games are not optimized and disappointing gamers. And we can't ignore the massive cryptocurrency demand that has basically disappeared since May 2021's high point. That's when people would be buying, 50, 100 GPUs for cryptocurrency mining. That demand is gone, meaning that not only do you not have to pay a scalper to buy a GPU, you can easily find them basically at retailers around the world. I'm not even talking about a few lucky places in the US or something like that. Basically anywhere you go. But on the other side of the coin, these retailers and obviously Nvidia and the third-party AIB partners haven't really started doing that many interesting sales yet. They're just kind of like holding on to this massive inventory. They're holding on to stock. And the problem that's happening right now, you have stuff like the RTX 4070 at $599, and then you have a whole bunch of old GPUs that are basically around that price, and often worse GPUs. Like the 3070 Ti is basically in a lot of places still that price, $599. As remember, we just talked about the 3070, not to mention 3080s and 3080 Ti's, which are much harder to find. Makes sense they would phase those out, or else the overlap is even more serious. But those GPUs are going to be still around the same price of the 4070, which doesn't really make that much sense. People aren't even buying the new stuff, and you can sure bet they're not going to buy the old stuff unless it's heavily discounted. AMD had a little bit of an advantage here because the GPUs that are priced close to the 4070 happen to be their high-end GPUs from last generation, such as the 6950 XT, 6800 XT. Those have all dropped close to $600 or lower, and they have a couple of points of contention against something like a 4070 or even 4070 Ti. They have more VRAM at 16 gigabytes of VRAM. The bandwidth isn't crippled like it is on the 4070, and obviously rasterization is still good. But the problem is they're still older generation GPUs, and the preference for Nvidia GPUs is still very, very high, causing many buyers to simply not even upgrade what they have now at all. It kind of stems to reason that if you have an RTX 3000 GPU, like if you look at the Steam charts, a lot of people have 3060s. Surprisingly, the RTX 3080 is also up there pretty high, which makes sense. That was a GPU that people really liked at its original MSRP, even though it was hard to get. A lot of people even paid scalper prices to get them during the last 2 years. So if you have something like that, like a 3080, there's not too much from the new GPUs that are very appetizing, to be honest. You literally have to jump to a 4080 or 4090 to see a very big performance uptick, and then that means that you're going to have to sell your 3080 for, I don't know, $500 that you may get on the used market, and then you're going to have to pony up like $900 to $1,000+ just to get the new generation faster 80 or 90 series, which a lot of people really don't want to do, especially since the games coming out are really badly optimized. Maybe whatever game they play on is playing fine on that current GPU, and it really doesn't even make any sense for like an RTX 3080 owner to want to upgrade to a 4070 because their performance is basically neck and neck. The VRAM amount is going to differ a little if it's the 10 gigabyte versus 12, but the VRAM bandwidth on the 3080 is actually superior to the 4070 and 4070 Ti, so you do have that going for you. So it's a little bit of an interesting argument. Many people don't feel like RTX 4000 is worth an upgrade, and they're going to really skip this generation, and that seems like what's going on here. I haven't seen this much GPUs across the board in stock forever. Basically, this is the most that we've ever seen. It might even be worse than that initial Bitcoin crash that we had a few years ago, like 2017, 2018. I think this one is worse, and that's why the market is absolutely flooded. All right, guys, so let me know what you think down below. Are you going to just skip this generation, or is the GPU that you currently have now playing the games that you want to play? Have you tried the new games? I'm really curious. Let me know down below. We'll have a chat. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.